So we all like to take breaks from our busy lives, enjoying things such as snapping people's necks or banging our heads to the best metal we can possibly muster up. Well, another thing Warhorse likes to do when he's taking a break is listen to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show with Tom and Aaron. And if Warhorse has learned anything over the past few months, it's that the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show rules ass!
My money, like I hit the lotto. Prayers for my brother, feel like the devil got him. I'm on the road so much, I'm thinking about my kids, thinking about my mama, wondering how she is. I'm working 2 jobs, hey, I'm just trying to make it. I lost my best friend, hey, rest in peace, Nathan. They killed my brother too, don't know my daddy, ooh. My sister going to jail, feel like I'm going to hell. Yeah, Lord, hear me, I just need some motivation. And I got tired of all these rumors and they hate. I feel my best when I'm worry-free. Mama, don't you worry, ain't nobody hurting me. Yeah, Lord, hear me, I just need some motivation.
Welcome everybody to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show. My name's Aaron. That's Tom. Tonight, a very special guest. Hey, he's the Suplex Assassin himself, Mr. Alex Kane. How's it going?
Going good, man. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start right here. This coming Friday night on Action Wrestling, you've got a matchup against Bishop Ryan. Tell us a little bit about this matchup.
So funny thing is, me and Bishop have actually already wrestled before. We wrestled at a promotion called New Era in Alabama. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get off as many suplexes as I did my last match, of course. But I think I'm going to have to dig deep in my bag of tricks of things that aren't suplexes that I can bust out that people haven't seen before. So it's definitely going to be a fun time.
Yeah, I definitely want to make sure I got that match plugged because it's one I'm kind of looking forward to watching myself. When you look at right now and where you're at in your career, you're starting to get a lot of notoriety from a lot of people right now, especially after your performance down in Tampa and a match against Brian Keith.
Yeah.
And whenever I saw that matchup, I was kind of thinking to myself, man, this is going to be a big test for him right now because you're still kind of young in the game.
Yeah.
Coming into that matchup, what were your feelings going into that matchup? And then after the match was over, how were you kind of feeling?
I was going into that whole weekend. I was a nervous wreck. Like I was like, man, like, am I gonna be able to like step up and like, I mean, I've got all this like buzz and everybody, like, all these eyes on me. Am I gonna be able to like step up to the plate and keep these people's eyes on me? Or because like I didn't want to flop or anything like that. I wanted to have like the best performance possible. And then like afterward, I was like, I don't know why I was ever doubting myself, like at all. Like why was I doubting myself going into this match? It's like I'm young in the game or whatever, but like I'd give a lot of credit to my trainer, A.R. Fox. He's just pumping out talent almost every 6 months there's somebody else on the scene from the A4. And it's like, he's like prepared. I'll say this. I always tell Fox this. Being trained by Fox is like when you're playing like the WWE video games and you have the My Player Starter Pack. It's kind of like having that My Player Starter Pack. Like you get like a boost or whatever when you come into independent wrestling. So you definitely, I was thinking like, yeah, never doubt yourself again.
Now you're an amateur wrestler growing up and you fell in love with with professional wrestling through video games. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So like, I didn't really know too much about like what was going on TV. Like I knew about like the pay-per-views and stuff. And like I'd always try to like Google like what the set looked like. Cause like I really liked the setups that they had back then. They don't really have that so much now. But like, I believe my older brother, one of his friends, he handed me, I think it was SmackDown 2, and like I think while they were hanging out, he let me play it, and like the entire time I kept trying to go backstage for some weird reason, but like just like the video games was kind of like my my foot in the door to professional wrestling. Like at that time I still wasn't like watching it on TV, but I was always playing the games. I had SmackDown 2, I had Warzone, what's that? SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, Here Comes the Pain. So I had all those video games, but I still wasn't watching on television. But over the time of playing those games, I started to learn who these people were.
Over on TikTok the other day, they asked what was the best pro wrestling video game of all time. And I said WCW versus NWO Revenge for the N64. What's your favorite actual wrestling game?
Man, I know a lot of people either say No Mercy or Here Comes the Pain, but Shut Your Mouth was probably my favorite because like the story, like I'm really big on story mode or like career mode or whatever. And like I can still to this day, like I have my PlayStation 2 over here behind the camera, and I can get on there and I can play through. And like though the story is the story mode's almost the same, like toward like the end, but like being able to go in and like if you have enough superstar points, you can challenge for championships and stuff like that. Like I really enjoy that. Like you kind of have control over like what your story is going to be. Like I remember like when I was younger playing Shut Your Mouth, I figured out how to get like all the belts and become Grand Slam champion, and that was really cool. But I'd definitely say Shut Your Mouth because like I think it was before like I wouldn't even say before, like it was like in the middle of wrestling games not being so realistic. Like I feel like now, like they're trying to be too like realistic, like an NFL or NBA. Like I mean, there was no blood in that game, but like you could climb up the top of the fist, fall off. They have this crazy animation when they fall, and then like a few seconds later, like they pop back up. But still, like that game like really suspended your disbelief in what was going on, and that's what I enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm terrible. And so I liked Warzone and Attitude.
Mm-hmm.
They were the most simple games ever.
Yeah, but those games are so hard.
Yeah,
like,
I thought the combinations for the moves, I just thought were you could memorize any of the combinations, and it made it easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I the other ones, I just gave up. I was like, this is too smart for me. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Like I like the whole like SmackDown versus Raw series before they started like really changing the controls. Like I literally had like the button map out like drilled into my head. So every time I played the next game or whatever, I already knew how to play, so I didn't really have to figure anything out. With like Warzone and Attitude, it was like the button map was like easy, but like the gameplay was just hard. Like it was like even if you had it on easy, it was still hard.
I got you. So, talking about the evolution of Alex Kane,
mm-hmm.
Where do you think you are now from when you started, and what kind of steps did you take to get to where you are now as far as your character and your in-ring skills and things like that?
Like I guess when I started, like I kind of had like a handle on wrestling itself because having an amateur background, so that made the transition a lot easier. The biggest thing for me was being confident in who I was. Like a lot of times in the beginning, like I'd try stuff, but it was like really like see-through. Like Fox would be like you, that doesn't look natural. That doesn't look real. So like I guess as time has gone on, and I've met like people. There's one guy named Enoch Terrison. I think he goes by Wicked Nemesis. Like on the like Southern Indies. He was really the one that kind of like sat me down, like, dude, look, you got it. Whatever it is, you got it. And there's no need for you to doubt yourself or not think that you're good enough to, ascend beyond, just doing indie shows to do indie shows. Like you're a talent that people can build around or whatever. And like you could quite possibly be a star. You just have to keep your head on straight, not get involved in any of this drama, politic nonsense, and just keep improving every single match you go out there. And that's the improving every single match is one thing I don't necessarily consciously do, but I guess subconsciously kind of happens. Like I'm always trying, like my gimmick is throwing suplexes, but I'm always trying to find a different way to get into it, different sequences to do in a match, so it doesn't get stale. Because that's one of my fears is like this, me throwing people is going to get stale at some point. People are going to be like, well, what else can this guy do? So I'm always trying to like find other ways outside of throwing suplexes to keep people engaged. Like, okay, this is cool. Oh, he did this. Oh my God, he can do that too. And I also don't try to throw even with trying new things, I try not to throw everything out that I do in every match. Like I switch up the suplexes that I hit. Sometimes like Fox is really, I mean, Fox is known for doing insane things like dives and stuff. And like every now and again, I'll go to a dive or whatever, like if it makes sense. But yeah.
When I look at you, and don't take it the wrong way in any way,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that you are a mixture of Taz, Shelton Benjamin, and Will Hobbs.
Yeah,
All
it's
put
funny.
together.
Yeah, it's funny. Because like look, when I first saw Will Hobbs, I'm like, we could be related. We're probably not related, but we could be related. He looks like he could probably be my older brother or like a cousin or something. Shelton Benjamin was one of my like idols growing up. Like amateur, I mean, he was a way better amateur wrestler than I'll probably ever be in my life. But seeing somebody that looks like me that did amateur wrestling and that came into the game, like, yeah, he's super athletic, he's super confident, and it was just cool seeing somebody that looks like me be as great as he is. And then Taz, like playing like the early video games, like I wasn't super into him because I didn't know exactly who he was.
Right.
But as I got into wrestling and started studying wrestling more, I started to gravitate more towards him. He was ruthless. His suplex arsenal is insane. The whole fact of that when he was in ECW, they didn't call it a suplex, they called it a Tazplex. That's dope. I don't know if I could do that with a Kaneplex. I don't know, that would be kind of weird. But yeah.
Trademark it now.
A Kaneplex. And then I've also been watching, I've gotten some comparisons to Samoa Joe also. And actually watching Samoa Joe, I'm like, I see it. I definitely see it. I do like his intensity is unmatched. And that's one thing I've been working on is being able to express more intensity.
When Kurt Angle first started, in WWE / WWF, he was known as a guy who did nothing but suplexes, but he evolved quickly. And it's just by being in the ring with different people, taking a little bit of, wrestling against a Chris Benoit, taking a little bit of wrestling with Chris Jericho. And for you, I've seen that in your style, wrestling a Cole Radrick, then wrestling a Brian Keith. You're taking little bits and pieces with each person that you're wrestling, and you're kind of evolving. What do you think about that?
Man, it's so cool to like. In my first year, like when I saw Cole Radrick, I was like, man, I want to wrestle this guy one day or whatever. And like, I didn't know like how long it would take for me to actually be able to be like, I guess like on that same level. But like, I definitely try to take stuff from everybody that I wrestle. And like, especially like the situations of the matches that I'm in, like I don't go into every match the same. Like with Bishop, when I wrestle Bishop, like I'm not gonna try to like wrestle him on his feet or whatever. I'm probably gonna try to chop him down or hit him before, or like, I mean, I guess it's heelish or whatever, but like if he ever has his back to me, like if he makes, like if I come out first, he comes out second, he has his back to me, I'm gonna hit him because it makes sense. He's bigger than me. I kind of say that he's a larger version of me. So if he has his back to me or whatever, I'm gonna hit him. It's because I think of all of these matches as fights. Like if we were in a bar, what would I do?
Right.
How could I get the advantage? That's where my psychology is.
So do you look at developing your character and persona based off of people that you respect in the business, or are you one that tries to just completely create your own thing? And talk about that.
So at first, when I really like honed in on the Suplex Assassin, I had more of like a Brock Lesnar feel to it. Like that's how I would like structure my matches. And like as time went on, I'm like, I don't have to be him. I can do something differently. Yeah, the commonality is that we both do suplexes, but like I'm not just doing German suplexes. I'm not just doing gut wrench suplexes. I'm trying to find, like I said before, like different suplexes for like every situation. Like if a guy throws his body at me, what can I do? What can I do from there? Stuff like that. So again, like trying to make sure like things aren't stale. Like I have to continue. I don't know what I'm saying. No. So like I have to find ways to continue to innovate the suplex. Like I guess the wheel's already been created. Now you just have to find different pieces to put on that wheel.
Just keeping it fresh.
Keeping it fresh, exactly.
Yeah, when you watch pro wrestling nowadays, and it's the biggest flaw, I think, for it is that we can see move sets coming a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when I'm watching pro wrestling and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that,
Mm-hmm.
In that combination. But, John Cena is one of those there for a while. He would do the same setup, but then he got a little funky and a little fresh. He was doing that little stunner he was doing. He was doing the code red. So when people are doing stuff that's kind of fresh, because let's be honest, like you're saying, in a bar fight, if every match for you is a bar fight, you're not going to fight the same way every time.
Like I make it a point, not to touch the ropes as much as possible. Like I'm not going to be running back and forth. Like there's no reason for me, especially now that I'm bigger than what I was when I started. So like I'm not trying to do all this running. If someone else needs to do some running for their like move set, cool. But like for me personally, I'm not trying to do all that. The only time I'm gonna touch the ropes is if it's building to some offense. And I get like some guys like they do the same thing every match. I think it's weird because like yes, this is a fight, but you should still be trying to have fun at the end of the day with what we're doing. So if you're not like trying something new, hopefully you've worked on it at training or worked on it throughout the week or whatever before you actually do it. But you should be trying to find different ways to do what you do. Like when John Cena started, like you said, he did the stunner. I think he threw like a few drop kicks and stuff like that. Like he's still out there having fun with it. And the fact that he does everything on the fly makes it that much better.
Now you're also involved in, really evolving your own character, even with music.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about your music.
So starting out at the WWA 4 school shows, the music would always get messed up for me. Like every time, like the jack was out or the jack was messed up, or the music wouldn't play. And I was also trying to find something that like resonated with me, because a lot of guys choose music because it's cool or because people in the crowd may know it and that's gonna get them their pop. But for me, I was trying to find something that really like spoke to me and that would get my character across before I even went through the curtain. So one of the fans there, his name's Lacey. His rap name is Lacey the Great. He came up to me and he was like, "Yo, I can make you a song. This, that, and the third. You shoot me whatever you want in the song or whatever, and I can put it together." And so he made me two songs. The first one, I was like, "Yo, I want like something like Shelton Benjamin had when he was the gold standard." and that didn't work out. It was just the tempo was just way too slow, and it threw me off. And then I hit him up again. I was like, yo, I'm sorry to ask, like, could you create something else for me? And he was like, yeah, I can, but I want to be able to do it in my own style. So I'm like, cool, do it in your own style. If that's gonna make it the best product it's gonna be. And then he created what I use now. And like I try to tell guys all the time, if like you're like custom gear is cool, all these custom things are cool, but you need custom music, because like after a while, when you go to these shows, and especially people there that have been to other shows that you've been at, when they hear that, they know what time it is. So for me, it has my name in it. It has my gimmick in it. It's catchy. It has cool lyrics in it. I have it on Spot. I have it on almost all the streaming platforms at this point, because people just like listening to the song, or whatever. And that's money to me. If people like your song that much, I kind of feel like I'm on like a WWE theme music level right now, with like having it on YouTube and stuff and people listening to it. But like I have it on my playlist. Like when it comes on, like toward the end of my workout, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I was going to plug it on Spotify for you, but you already did that, so good job on that.
Uh-huh.
Now, there's something I need to mention.
What's up?
On Twitter today,
Mm-hmm.
I need to know. You mentioned grinding up chicken breast,
Mm-hmm.
spinach,
Yep.
apple juice, and peanut butter.
Yep.
Oh,
Look,
listen,
I see the look on your face right now. I see the look on both your faces right now. It sounds terrible. So I'm on TikTok a lot, and I was scrolling or whatever, and I saw this video of this dude. He's like, I'm out of protein powder. What do you do when you're out of protein powder? So he put like 16 ounces of chicken, apple juice. He used almond butter, but I'm allergic to tree nuts, and some spinach. He blended it up, and I'm like, you know what? That does look gross, but I respect the dedication. And you know what? And I told the guy, I'm gonna try this. So the first time I tried it, I put chicken in, I put some ice in, apple juice, peanut butter, spinach, blended it up. And I'm like at first when I started drinking it a little bit, I'm like, ugh, this is kind of gross. Whatever. As I continued to drink it, I was like, you know what, this isn't half bad, because the peanut butter overpowers everything in the shake. But you have like the grittiness of the chicken, but I mean, at this point, after a while, chewing gets boring and it gets monotonous and annoying. So being able to drink a meal versus having to eat a meal, you can't beat it.
listen, my wife is into fitness, and there's no way in hell I could get her to drink that. There's no way. I even tried today to talk to Tom about doing it. He was like, well, I think I could do it. And I was like, I'll buy the blender, the chicken. We can make this happen. But he was right. He said the peanut butter would probably be the overpowering taste. He did say that.
Because like you don't season the chicken. Like I poach it. Like I boil it. No seasoning or anything like that. So it's just white meat chicken. Put it, and then I just put it in there.
I'm all about some chicken.
I tell you,
my man.
I guess I'd have to sign you right now just because you can drink that. If you can drink that, you're man enough to work for my promotion, by God. So let's talk about the shirt you're wearing.
Yep.
Big Starkz Brand. And of course,
Yeah,
you know,
baby.
we're also Big Starkz Brand as well. But talk to us a little bit about that relationship, because it is something that is sweeping across the independent scene. You know, I've made mention before. We go to shows, and there's about 5 people wearing Big Starkz Brand knee pads. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many people that's involved in it. And as Billy said on the show before, you know, it's just a family overall. So what has that relationship done for your wrestling career so far as the mentorship? It's
been amazing. Like Mouse knows so much. Billy, even though Billy's younger than me, she knows more than I do. So like having those two like in my ear or whatever. Like I can go to them and ask them questions, and get like real feedback, not just, oh, you know, that's cool, or, oh yeah, you should do that. Like real feedback, like a real conversation. Like Mouse pretty much, I think it was, what show? I think it was a show I wrestled Damian Tangra. Was when I joined, or I signed to Big Starkz Brand. That whole social media thing was really cool. But he put it to me like it's a way for him to put guys over, or guys and girls over, that are out here like making it happen, like making towns, really pushing themselves to be the best that they can possibly be. So it's basically putting these people who are busting their ass on an even bigger platform to be seen. And like a lot of people think it's like a faction or a clique, and it's not. It's a lifestyle, and it's also a family, like you said. And it's the best family I've been a part of, other than my own, but definitely one of the best families I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I heard your name was actually after Mouse tweeted about you. You know, he was just like, "Hey, you need to watch this kid." You know, and I take, you know, I watch, you know, Twitter is basically a lot of our exposure for a lot of talent. You know, yes, there is IWTV, and there's other platforms as well, Fight TV. But for us to be able to reach out to you all, to be able to go back to YouTube, it kind of starts with social media for a lot of us. Because, you know, I'm in Kentucky, Tom's in Indiana, and you're in Alabama, correct?
No, Georgia.
Georgia, okay. You're in Georgia. So, you know, we don't get a lot of Georgia wrestling around here unless it's, you know, kind of pushed through our way. And to be able to connect with you all on those levels is fantastic.
Man, I've been like, since like my Twitter has kind of blown up the way it has on this like ascension, I keep trying to tell guys, or I'm always like on Facebook telling like the guys that aren't on Twitter, like get on Twitter. Like Twitter is difficult to figure out a little bit because the algorithm's really weird. But like so many of my friends are just like wrestling at shows that people aren't seeing. Like you're getting reps, but people aren't seeing what you're doing. And you can put it on YouTube, and like you can push that, but like are you gonna be able to reach like a wider audience with that? But with Twitter, like I always tell, I keep going back to but yes, I always tell dudes like Twitter's weird, the algorithm's weird. You can't just post like all your wrestling stuff on there or whatever, because I mean, until you get into that niche of the wrestling community, wrestling fans aren't going to see what you're posting.
Right.
So I tell guys to put like a clip or two on your Twitter feed, pin it, and then like you don't have to be in like character all the time. Like you don't have to be like, I mean, if like a show like shares like a match or something or whatever that you're going to be in, yeah, be in character in that post. But like on the day to day, you don't have to be in this like rigid character. You can be a person or whatever. The world understands what professional wrestling is or whatever. You can't pull the wool over their eyes anymore. You can only suspend their disbelief. So like I think like a month or two ago, I posted the whole apple juice and cinnamon toast crunch, and that whole, what some people would call a debacle, but it's wet apple pie. It's amazing. But like that caught fire or whatever, and with all of that attention, not everybody that liked the post or interacted with the post was a wrestling fan, but they click on your page, they see what you do. If they like it, they're gonna follow you. If they don't, they looked at your profile. It's a win-win. I tell guys to be themselves. Don't post. You shouldn't have any bad takes anyway, but don't post your bad takes. Don't do that. Keep that to yourself. But just try to be personable on there. That's what people gravitate towards. People don't want you to be rigid and act like you're better than you know having fun on social media.
Right. Before we let you go, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter at Alex_Kane11. You can find me on Instagram at the Suplex Assassin. You can find me on Facebook, but I'd rather you not, because like there's a lot of people on Facebook that add me, but I've never seen them at a show. They don't interact with anything. They're just there, and it's weird. But it always ends up being people who post bad takes, and I'm just like, what are we doing here? Why are you here? Why are you here? I have a YouTube channel. It's Alex Kane. You might have to type in Alex Kane Wrestling because I share the name with a bunch of like journalists and stuff. It's weird. I didn't know that before when I selected my name. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome, man. Alex, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Sky's the limit for you. Definitely. Just keep your head up. Enjoying every match of yours I actually see. Can't wait to see where your character development goes throughout the next year. And appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. For everybody out there this week that was hoping to see a 5-minute time limit, it's not going to happen this week. The studio, as you can tell, is getting kind of remodeled. That's why there's no green screen, home improvement time around here. So there won't be a 5-minute time limit. Hopefully, Tom's going to be heading off to Indianapolis this weekend to the Squared Circle Expo. And I'm sure he's going to have all types of goodies when he comes back to drop a Hooligan Heist. But until then, thank you everyone for all the support as always. Make sure you go to PWTs, get yourself a t-shirt as well. And we will see you all sometime.
Oh, I have a pro wrestling tees too, actually.
Pro wrestling tees. Get yourself some Alex merch.
I got this really cool death metal logo on there now. It's awesome. I don't have one yet, but it's on there. You should get one.
Yep. Buy the merch and check out the song on Spotify. I did on the way home tonight. Loved it. It's a banger. So thanks everyone so much. We'll see y'all later in the week.